car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.
And just like that theme song said, if you're looking for the best price on a car, truck, or SUV that you're thinking of buying or selling or trading in, you are in luck, because we have the owner of Frontier Motors here in the studio, ready, willing, and more than qualified to answer any questions that you might have in regards to that very question. Give us a call, 478-3116, and I will, through the magic of modern telecommunications, connect you directly with Ivan Struckle. Good morning, sir.
Hey, Don, thanks so much for the introduction. And once again, we have a double format here. We are live on the radio right now, which is 1370 Talk AM radio. We're going to be on here for the next about 30 minutes talking about car values and talking about what's going on in the auto industry. We are also videotaping this for our Blab TV customers, and this is going out on cable and on satellite right now. And if you're watching this on TV, this is a pre-recorded show. We do this live twice a month, and then we run them at different times. And if you're watching this on TV, you can obviously call the number on the bottom of your screen if you're going to get the value. And that's one of the reasons we do the show. This is a call-in show about values of cars. And the values that we use are a little bit different than you get on the internet, which the internet, of course, has a Kelley Blue Book, an Edmunds, and an NADA. We use an official NADA guidebook that the banks and credit unions use. It's actually a yellow book that we don't subscribe to anymore. This one I have in my hands is actually a relic, because all of the NADA guides that I get are now on the computer or they are on a smartphone. So we don't have to actually physically get the books, but I do have the books with us here for the TV show. And we also have the Black Wholesale Guidebook. The Black Book is printed by Hearst Publications. It's been out since I was a little baby, and they've been using the Black Wholesale Guidebooks in the car business ever since I started, which was when I was about 13 years old, started in the car business. And I remember them locking the black books up in the top of the drawer because they didn't want the customers to get their hands on them, because that is the data that's compiled through auctions. And now, of course, everything being electronic and on the internet, I can get into the auction reports. And not only can I get the black book on the computer, but I can also get what's going on at the auction instantaneously. An example would be tomorrow at the Orlando auction, which we're lucky enough to have the Orlando auction within driving distance. I have a buyer that actually drives down to Orlando every week. It's about a 7-hour drive for him, and he'll go to Orlando because Orlando is the second largest auction in the United States, and it gives us the ability to choose from up to 6,000 cars in 1 week. The average is about 4,000 to 5,000 every once in a while. Once a month they have their big sale, which is 6,000 cars they attempt to sell in one day. They have over 30 lanes running simultaneously, so they're all going at the same time. And I have a buyer down there, and I tell him the cars that I'm interested in purchasing, and I give him the run numbers to let him know where they're at. The auction has come a long ways, and these days an auction is where dealers exchange their cars. In other words, if a Lexus dealership takes a pickup truck and trade, maybe a diesel truck, they don't have too many people coming to the Lexus dealership looking for a pickup truck. So the next day, they will ship their car to Orlando, which is a large auction. They have a lot of buyers there, and they run that pickup truck at the Orlando sale, and they'll use the money from the pickup truck to perhaps buy a Lexus that's running in the Lexus lane down there, because there's a lot more people coming on their lot looking for used Lexus products than there would be through pickup truck or diesel products. And that's one of the reasons that we love going to the auction. The other thing that's good about the new auction, so to speak, is that that's not where dealers take their junk. That's where dealers take their great cars, because they can turn them into money. And if they get a little high in inventory, we mentioned this on last time we had the radio show, one of the reasons that you might get a low appraisal from a certain dealer is maybe they don't have enough money to buy your car. Let's say you've got a $40,000 car you want to trade in. Well, if you go to a dealership that's got over $1 million in used cars and that's all they're allocated, that's all the money they have, the next point, what happens is they take their cars to the auction, they liquidate, and they use that money for other purposes. And the auction guarantees the cars. They rate them from a scale of 1 to 5, and they also guarantee them against issues that you might think, because a lot of people always ask me, well, how do you know if it's a bad car or not? How do you know if it's a salvage title or if it's an odometer problem or if it's a lemon law buyback? Well, one reason is that the auction does their inspection, and they guarantee that won't run through their auction without being disclosed. Now, do they have cars that have issues? Of course they do. But they're disclosed. So the dealers that do buy those buy them because they're buying them quite a bit cheaper, and they're disclosing them to the next customers. Got a lot of stuff to cover. These are just some of the things that we talk about through Frontier Motors. Like I said, we talk about the industry. We talk a little about what's going on in Consumers Reports. I do read Consumers Reports, and I bring a lot of the statistics and some of the stats with us. The best stat that I love came out 2 months ago, and I shared this in the last time we did a show, and I want to share it one more time. This is from Consumers Reports, and it has they actually are putting in writing, for the first time that I've been reading Consumers Reports, the first time at least I saw the article, what we've been talking about at Frontier Motors going on 19 years now, and that is depreciation. If I was pushed to say, what do I specialize in, I would say that Frontier Motors specializes in the alternative to a new car. We have a lot of vehicles that we have in our lot that are very low mileage cars that would rival any new car in town. And of course, because I am a used car dealer, what we do is we have to sell them as used, even though they might be brand new. What I mean by brand new is they might never have been titled. But if I buy one of these cars, let's say I buy a car from a rental company that bought maybe 100 Impalas, and they buy maybe 10 of them too many. They don't use these cars. They're sitting in their holding pen. They never get rented out. They've got 500 miles on them. The next thing I know, they're finding these cars at the auction. They're selling them at a reduced price. And so that car to me is like brand new, but of course I have to sell it used. An example would be the 2014 Jeep Wrangler that we have on a lot that has 1,000 miles on. That would be what I would consider pretty much the alternative to a new car. We also have a Buick Regal on the lot that has 1,000 miles on it. We have a Nissan Quest with leather interior, an SV model. It has 1,000 miles on it. We have a Nissan Rogue with 1,000 miles. We have a Ford Transit Connect cargo van that has 1,000 miles on it. We have a Lexus RC350, which is their new sports two-door coupe they just came out with. It's got 1,000 miles. And that gives you an idea of what I'm talking about when we talk about at Frontier Motors, that you will be able to purchase a car that's like new, but take advantage of the depreciation. Now, when we talk about depreciation, everybody knows that when you buy a brand new car and you drive it off the lot, the next day it's going to lose a bunch of money because now it has to be sold as used. But a lot of people don't know how much does it depreciate. Well, Consumers Reports now put it in writing, and they came out with it in their 2 months ago in a report that says that the average new car sold last year in 2014 was $34,000. That's the average transaction price. That wasn't the actual list price because you got rebates and incentives and discounts. It might have been a $37,000 car that they negotiated $34,000 on. So if the average new car last year was sold at $34,000, the first year depreciation was 27%. So if you multiply that, that comes to $9,180 depreciation in the first year. The second year goes down another 10%, so it goes down 27% the first year. So you can see the first year takes the biggest hit, and then it goes down another 10% to 37%. 3 years it goes down another 9% to 46% depreciation. After 4 years, the car is depreciated 56%, $19,000 loss after 4 years. That's, to me, that's mind blowing. And these cars that I have on a lot, some of them I can save you between $5,000 and $9,000 on a 1-year-old car. Some of them, depending on the price of the car, if it's a less expensive car, like if it was a Smart car or a Chevy Spark, that might be a $15,000 car. Obviously, it's not going to depreciate $9,100 in the first year, but it'll still depreciate significantly where I can show you a substantial savings. So if you know anybody out there that's in the new car market, that's going to be buying a brand new car, ask them to stop at Frontier Motors. Now, there's a couple of things I can do for you, even if you decide not to buy a used car. Even if you think that 1,000 miles is too many miles on it, the first thing I can do for you, if you stop at Frontier Motors before you buy the new car, is I can share the invoice with you of the new car. In other words, at the back of every Consumer's Reports, I haven't even checked this one, but usually in the back of it, and here it is, it says, find out how much to pay for that new car with our expanded local pricing information, and you can buy an invoice report from Consumers Reports for $14 per report. So let's say that you've narrowed down to 10 different cars. You want 10 different invoices. Well, guess what happens? 10 different invoices is going to cost you $140. At Frontier Motors, we have the new car cost guides that have the invoice prices for every car out there. So that's one reason you stop. I can tell you what the dealer paid for the car. Now, that doesn't mean you're supposed to buy it for what the dealer paid, because they're going to go out of business if they sell it for what they have invested in. But I can tell you, based on my experience and based on how many are available right now, what their supply and demand is. Obviously, if the supply is very, very low, you're going to be forced to pay a premium on that particular car. If the supply is very, very high, you're going to get a bargain on that car, which means you can deal closer to dealer cost. That's the first thing I can help you with. The second thing I can help you with is the value of your trade-in. So let's say you decided to buy a brand new Lexus at Lexus Mobile, and even though I've got a couple of 15th model Lexus products on our lot, let's just say you say, well, I've got one with 3,000 miles. You say, my wife won't let me buy a used car. She thinks there's something wrong with it. So I'm going to buy the new one, and you know what? I can afford to buy the new one. I don't care how much you save me, Ivan. I'm going to buy the brand new one. Well, I can still help you by telling them what they pay for the car, so that'll help you negotiate a little bit. But number two, what should they be appraising the trade-in for? Let's say you go in and you make your best possible deal, and you're satisfied with the price of the car that you're buying. Let's say you've negotiated that $50,000 Lexus down to $46,000. You throw them the keys for your car, they go appraise it, and they come back and say, well, I'll give you $20,000 for your car. Well, what if I've appraised it for $23,000? If you know that, that's going to help you get a better deal. And I looked it up, and I said, you know what? That's actually wholesale. That's a good price. I'd be hard-pressed to sell you that same car that he described to me for $45,000. And the other thing I told him, I says, why don't you send me the ID number, which is a 17-digit VIN number, identification number, and I can run a Carfax for you. I've got Carfax and Carfax and AutoCheck. And AutoCheck, what they do is they're the second largest provider of history reports to the nation. I always get both of them because I want to compare both of them to make sure the data is the same. So I run the Carfax at no charge, which, by the way, Carfax these days costs $39 plus tax, and I think AutoCheck is $25. So it'd be over $50 for you to run both of those yourself. I run them at no charge for you. You just call me or call the dealership or email us through our website. Just Google Frontier Motors and give us the ID number and give us the mileage and the equipment. And what I can do is I can run you the Carfax and the AutoCheck, and it also spits out a price. I've got a program called Price Driver that tells me what every vehicle like that is selling for within a certain radius. It defaults to 150 miles. I can set it up nationwide if I want to, and it'll tell me what those cars are running for on a retail basis. And I can do this for you at no charge. And the reason we do this, folks, is we know that even if I help you buy that particular car, if I help my friend buy that Range Rover, well, guess where he's going to buy the next car, or guess he's going to stop when he's got time for another car. I don't think I'm going to lose him to another car dealership. This particular car he's buying for is from a friend that's selling it, and it happened to have been a good deal. I could have easily kinked the deal by saying, oh, man, that's not a good price. You'd need to pay $40,000 for that car. But that wouldn't be true, because if he asked me to get it for him, which a lot of people do ask me to get it for him, then at that point, if I can't produce, I'm out of a sale. If I tell you I can get you a particular vehicle for a certain price, I better be able to get you one that's above average condition, if not in excellent condition, and get it for the price that I'm discussing. Now, it gets a little bit confusing, folks, when we're talking pricing, and I came up with this last month where I went to Price Driver. Price Driver tells me what particular cars are selling for. I was at the auction, and I was looking at a 2014 Honda Accord Sport. And this is kind of a new car. The car I was looking at only had 8,000 miles on it. So I ran the Carfax on it. It was good. I ran the black wholesale book, and I got an idea what the black book was. I also ran the NADA, so I found out what the bankers are going to tell you what the retail value was. So I did everything, but the last thing I did is I went to Price Driver. Price Driver tells me what every Honda Accord Sport is selling for. It defaults to 150 miles. There were 14 exact matches within the 150 miles, 14 exact ones. The most expensive one was at AutoNation. I hope AutoNation, which is 52 miles away. I don't even know where this particular AutoNation is, but it's probably towards Mobile or something. But the most expensive one was at AutoNation. It had 10,000 miles on it. It's $25,305. That's what they're asking for the car. The funny thing is, the least expensive one was $20,400. That's a $5,000 difference. It was also at AutoNation. Same dealership. Just about the same amount of miles. This particular one I ran this, it had 11,000 miles. Both at AutoNation. Now, do you know that Hondas don't have any equipment? In other words, everything's standard. You could come back and say, well, the reason there's a $5,000 price difference is because one's got navigation, sunroof, the other one's stripped. Well, that can't happen. All Honda Accord Sports are identical. There's no options. Everything's standard. So why would there be a difference? There's only a $3,000 mileage difference. $3,000 mileage difference equates into about $500. But the difference they're asking is $5,000. Only one reason. Condition. The condition of the car. In this particular example, the condition made a $5,000 difference in the asking price of the particular car at the same dealership. So, of course, if you see the least expensive one being $20,000, you got to go to the dealership to go check that out. You see the car. It's been smoked in. It's got a bad Carfax. It's got nicks on it. It's only got 11,000 miles on it, but it looks like it's got 111 on it. And, some dealerships buy those bad condition cars on purpose. Do you know why? So they can advertise them. But when you go there and you see that car, you got to travel 52 miles from Pensacola to get to that car. You go there and you look at the car, man, that's the best deal in town. And you look at it and you say, Beth, this thing is butt ugly. I don't want nothing to do with this car. And the salesman says, well, hold on, I got another one here for you. It's got 8,000 miles on. It's absolutely flawless and it smells good. It's got a clean Carfax. It's perfect. It's got the books. It's got the keys. It's ready to go. But it's $5,000 more. Very interesting. And folks, what I'm getting at is when you look at pricing, you know that they did a survey through one of our companies that we use. They said that the customer decision-making process, that price is number 16 on the list. But number 1 on what they ask when they walk in. But in other words, what I'm getting at is that price is not the most important thing. Condition is one of the most important things. Obviously, the model, the way it looks, the way it drives, the way it feels, the way it sits, the reliability, the safety factor, the gas mileage, the color. If you like the salesman, if you like the dealership, the location of where the car is at. Price is 16 on the list. But why do people put so much emphasis on price? What if you had the best price of the car, but it was a rattiest car? What if it was the best price, it was a good car, but you hate the salesman and you hate the dealership? What if it was the best price, you like the salesman, you like the model, you like the dealership, you like the location of the car, but you hate the color? These are all reasons why you'd walk out. So what we've learned at Frontier Motors years ago is that we don't try to sell you on a car that you're not in love with. If we don't have exactly what you're looking for, and this morning when I just pulled my computer up, it said that we have 368 cars in stock, and I was driving up to the station at 13:70 a.m. off of W Street up here. There was a trucker pulling into our lot that had a truckload of cars on him. So we've got about 375 cars on the lot. I saw one of the cars they were dropping off was a 2015 Hyundai Genesis Pearl White with 7,000 miles on it that I bought last week. And also there was a 15 model RX 350, a burgundy Lexus with 9,000 miles on the truck that they were dropping off. Just thought I'd mention that in case you're looking at one of those two cars. I had a customer complaint the other day. They said, I watched the Blab show and I wish you'd show more pictures of cars. I said, well, this is not about the cars. You can Google Frontier Motors and see every one of our cars. And the chances of, when we first opened, we did like the other dealerships where they ran every car on the bottom or a color, a picture of the car. And we do have a banner of what we have on the lot running by if you're watching this on Blab TV right now. But it's not just about the cars, folks. It's about how we do business at Frontier Motors. It's about the services that we offer the people in the Pensacola community. It's about the fact that we'll sit down with you when you're in the car market to tell you which car is a good car, which car is a bad car, which dealership that we've had good success with in finding a particular car, what car is the most reliable car. And I have these things, and unfortunately I don't have enough time to talk about everything, but I've got, for example, the best value. Consumer Reports a couple months ago came out with the best value. Now, best value is different than best reliability or best roadability. It's a combination of the best depreciation, cost per mile, road track report, which includes evaluations including performance, comfort, convenience, fuel economy, fit and finish, and cargo space. And the other one, the last one, is predictive reliability. They surveyed 1.1 million car owners, and they asked them about the reliability of the car they bought. They put this all together, and they compiled this data into best values. And they go by category. The smallest category is a subcompact car, and they say the best subcompact value is a Hyundai Accent. Great for Alan Turner. Isn't that a feather in their cap that they sell a brand new Hyundai Accent over at Alan Turner, and that was rated the best value. Now, we sell that car used, where you're actually taking advantage of the depreciation, and they do a good job selling the new cars. The second car on the lot is a Toyota Prius C, which, by the way, we've got the Hyundai Accent and the Prius C at Frontier Motors. And then guess what? It wasn't the Toyota or the Honda. It was the Kia Rio EX, which is the same vehicle as the Hyundai Accent and the Kia version. Very interesting. And number 4 was a Chevy Sonic. Can you believe that Chevy Sonic was on there? Compact cars. They love the Priuses. They love the Subaru Impreza, the Hyundai Elantra, the Civic. Can you imagine the Elantra is above the Civic in best value? Everybody thinks the Honda is a better car than the Hyundai. Not anymore. Luxury compact cars. Buick Regal is number 1. Vince Wibb is our local Buick dealer. Isn't that great? The Buick Regal for best value now. This is best value overall. Is the Buick Regal number 2? You think it would be a Japanese import, right? It's not. It's the Buick Verano. And then comes the Acura ILX, then the BMW 328, then the Audi A4, the Lexus CT200, and then so on down the line. Sports cars, Mazda Miata number 1, Scion FRS number 2. Midsize cars, Camry, Honda Accord, Legacy, Mazda 6. These are best values. Wagons. Funny thing is, I'm supposed to know what I'm talking about. Don says this is Ask the Expert. You know, you're supposed to ask the expert. Mm-hmm. I found out this morning I don't know what I'm talking about, Don, because last night I was out, and one of my friends came up to me and says, my wife has got a dilemma. Can we talk business for a minute? This was on Sunday. Can we talk business? I said, okay, we'll talk business for a minute. 1 minute is all you get. It's my day off. He says she bought a Nissan Maxima last year, bought brand new at the Nissan store at Sandy Sansing. Right. And she wanted to buy a wagon, station wagon, because that's what she had. She had an old, I think she had a Volvo wagon. Anyways, or Saab wagon. Anyways, make a long story short, came up yesterday, I want a wagon again. What do you recommend? And I said, well, I would recommend a Passat wagon, because Passats are now highly recommended by Consumer Reports. Mm-hmm. They weren't the best about 5-6 years ago, but right now the Passat is very, very highly rated. She said, okay, you got one? I said, well, I got a couple of regular Passats, but you can come in and see them. I got a couple of 15s on the lot, and just get behind the wheel because the dashboard's the same, and I'll just get you one in a wagon. She said, okay, I'll be in today. So before we were doing the show here, I was doing a little bit of checking. I got my new car cost guidebook here. You know? Right. I opened it up. They don't make a Passat wagon anymore.
Nice.
I definitely am not an expert.
Yeah.
Last year, there was 232 makes and models of cars available in the United States. 232. Obviously, if you're selling Volkswagens for a living and that's all you're selling, you would probably know that. But based on the fact that I sell 232 models, for me to be an expert in all of them would be a little stretch of the imagination. And that's why I have these new car cost guides, so I can look stuff up. And then the other thing I came across is wagons. The best value in wagons. The number 1 is a Subaru Outback premium wagon. It's kind of a crossover, not specifically a wagon. She still likes the old body-style wagon. But then they have the Toyota Venza, which also I don't think is really a wagon. I think it's more of a crossover, SUV/wagon. And then they have the Audi All-Road Premium Hatchback, which looks very similar to a wagon, except a little bit smaller than the Saab she was used to. And then they have the Volvo XC70, which I really like. I like the Volvo. They're getting better. This is better than average reliability. And then they have the Honda Cross Tour. I don't know if people don't know what a Cross Tour is. Everybody knows what a Honda Accord is. Well, they took a Honda Accord and they pretended to make a wagon out of it. It looks a little like a Morphodite. They're really not sure if it's a wagon, an SUV, or a crossover. It looks kind of goofy, but you know what? They sell pretty good because it has the Honda name on it, and everybody knows Honda reputation is like Toyota's. And even though I kind of make fun of them because they only have a 3-year warranty, they're still up there with reliability, but now they have competition. They have Hyundai and Kia that are sniffing at the heels of becoming even a more reliable car than the Japanese. Japanese have been sitting around for a little while, and they're not making an exciting car right now. The Honda product and the Toyota product, I think they're making a comeback because they've had a lot of issues with recalls and such as that. And I'm not just talking about airbag recalls. I'm talking about a lot of mechanical issues. And they kind of have gotten complacent in their reliability standards, and they're getting their act together. And I'm sure that in 2016 things are going to change. That is going to make sure that they stay on top of the game. But very interesting that Hyundai and Kia are doing so well. We talked about best values a little bit. We also have a category that is the most reliable. And that's one thing that people will ask about is which is the most reliable car. Well, they have that by different segments also, but in that midsize sedan segment, the Volkswagen Passat 4-door is much better than average. So is the Mazda 6, kind of a forgotten make is the Mazda. Mazda 6 is very, very reliable car, even more so than some of the other ones that you would think, like the Honda Accord, because the Honda Accord was not the top 3. Number 3 was the Toyota Camry. So they had the Passat, the Mazda 6, and the Camry, most reliable sedan. Best fuel economy, the Honda Accord Hybrid for a midsize sedan, the Hybrid, the Ford Fusion Hybrid, and the Camry Hybrid. The roomiest for a small sedan is the Passat, again, wins that. The Hyundai Sonata, one of my favorite cars, is the Hyundai Sonata for room. Honda Accord has got really good room. Best ride and handling, the Ford Fusion, the Subaru Legacy, and the Malibu. And then the safest car, which nobody cares about safety anymore because I never get a question about it, is the Subaru Legacy, the Malibu, and the Accord. In case you're worried about safety, I can't figure out why people don't ask me why that's not the most important thing that they would ask.
Maybe it's because safety has improved so much over the years that it's a given, so to speak.
That is the only thing I can think of, Don, because it sure doesn't make any sense that they're not asking. So I think that that's a good answer, that everybody assumes all cars are safe. Ask Takata with their airbag situation about that. Right now, if you're driving down the road, you don't know if the airbag works or if it doesn't. I had a friend of mine got in the accident the other day, and his airbag worked just fine. So he was happy to report he got a little abused by the airbag. He said, but better abused by the airbag than the windshield. Frontier Motors, located at 230 Beverly Parkway. We do a bunch of things for the Pensacola community. We'll tell you what your car's worth for no different charge. We can do this over the phone or by email if you want, or just stop in at 230 Beverly Parkway. Number 2, what we'll do is a free history report for you, Carfax or auto check, and no charge for you. If you're going to buy a brand new car, I can help you out with what the new car costs. If you're looking for a particular car, if the 375 cars that we have on the lot aren't enough for you, perhaps we can find you the car of your dreams. We'll give you a price before we get that. We'll guarantee the condition and the equipment. If it doesn't pass your inspection, then don't take delivery, but it's a great way to locate and purchase a used car without feeling obligated. And again, Frontier Motors is going on 19 years in business. Any questions, any need for advice, Frontier Motors is the place to go. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.